So, in working on this book on student loan debt and how to do college debt free, which is an upcoming book, not quite sure when I'll be done with it, but hopefully this year, I was writing tonight and thinking through those parents, families, grandparents, guardians, and loved ones that are not just in the position of people who have student loan debt and who are under the burden of those things. I write about that too, but I'm writing for chapter for those who want to be proactive in helping their pay for their student who may be very young or years away from college, maybe a grandchild, maybe someone that they have guardianship over, or parents, whatever the situation may be, that they want to proactively have money ready for their student when they get to the time of pursuing college. There's a couple ways of preparing for this and saving for this, and they are education savings account and 529. But let me just talk about the 529 here for a minute, where I've been doing some writing. The 529, which is an investment account for, which I'm not going to get too in detail on, but for a student's education, can be put in a family, you can put in up to $2,000 a year. Now, it doesn't have to be that full amount, but were you to do this and your child was just born, which a lot of people start a lot later, I get that, but just potentially this $2,000 a year times 18 years gets you $36,000. Now, this isn't just a static savings account. This savings account is meant to be put into mutual funds or something that grows over some time, which means it can have, depending on what you put it into, which I'll talk about at another time, upwards of $100,000, which is plenty of money to pay for college. But anyway, just breaking down the idea of $2,000 a year. I mean, that may sound like a lot, and indeed it is, and it is a sacrifice. But if we think about it this way, I've done the breakdown here of what that amounts to is 12 in 12 months, another 166, almost $167 per month. So it's a sacrifice of $167 per month, or $38.46 a week, or $5.48 per day. That's what would get you to $2,000 a year. Now, it's always a sacrifice. You're having to give up something in order to save that money. And this sacrifice should not be made until, as Dave Ramsey says, until you have your $1,000 emergency fund, you have paid off debt, you have all debt, all consumer debt, all student loan, all the debt that you have built up 3 to 6 months of savings to complete your emergency fund, and then are consistently investing 15% toward retirement in mutual funds. Now, once you've done that, that's at the point where somebody would kind of maybe start saving for a house. But step number 5 in Dave Ramsey's plan is saving for kids' college. Now, if you don't have children, that may not be an issue. But those who do and are able to kind of start saving at that point can open one of these 529 accounts and start doing that. But how do you save $2,000 a year? You know, that's a lot of money. And that $2,000 could be used for braces. It could be used for, I mean, anything you could imagine using an extra $2,000 a year for, is you're having to give that up, and give that up consistently year after year until child goes to college. So where do I get the money? It's kind of the way to think about this. Well, I kind of put it in 2 ways. You find it, or you make it. Okay, and that's maybe an oversimplification in some ways, but I think sometimes we get too complicated with this. Finding it means rearranging priorities and a budget in order to find the money within what you already receive in income, meaning you renegotiate or get rid of the cable bill. You adjust your expenses. You make some sacrifices. You give up frequency at Starbucks. You give up some other things in your budget, or a couple. It doesn't have to all be from one area, but after clearing your debt, having an emergency fund, all that stuff being out of the way, it would be easier to do this. So this is something you can only do and should only do once you have already done those steps and you're pursuing and modeling financial freedom consistently. That being said, it can be kind of a task to find that extra money. So finding it is sitting down, you as a parent, you as spouses, you as a grandparent, whatever the case may be, guardian, however, and looking at the budget and seeing, is there any way that I can rearrange the numbers here and the priorities so that each month I can take out another $167? Can I give up some of fast food, some of Starbucks, some of what I spend on food, some of what I spend on streaming, some of what I spend on cable, some of what I spend on clothing, some of what I spend on entertainment, etc. The situation's different for everybody. So that's finding it, rearranging those priorities. Making it is the other side. Making money means employing extra means to create extra needed income. So that would be getting another job or selling some things or having a small business online or something enough to make $167 a month or $2,000 per year or $39 a week or $5.50 a day, $5.50 a day. Is there something that can be done that you can meet that goal by making that extra money? Maybe you work a little bit of overtime, which a couple hours of overtime could amount to that. Depending on the week, if that's available, you could find something else to do, some other type of job, part-time, or just some other activity, legal and ethical, that makes you money. Or you can do both strategies. You both can look at your budget to find and rearrange. So let's say, okay, I can't get the whole $167 a month, but I can get half of that per month. I can get $100 a month by rearranging my budget. Okay, well, if you get $100 a month, you're more than halfway there. Now you just need to make up $67. Okay, and while doing that, maybe you make extra money in order to do that. So the kind of three questions here: how can you rearrange your budget in order to find an additional $2,000 a year, $167 a month, $39 a week, or $5.50 a day? That's question number one. And don't be so quick to say it's not possible until you've looked at your budget and searched for creative solutions. And it helps to look at a budget with somebody else who can help you evaluate and maybe see things you don't see, not in a critical way, but in a helpful way, especially if it's a spouse. Question number two: how can you work to make an additional $2,000 a year, which is $167 a month, $39 a week, $5.50 a day? Now, if you're working on this within a family, you have multiple people to work to contributing toward this goal. Now, of course, this may also be that if you have more than one child, but children, unless they're twins, aren't always the same age. But even if they are, you just do the same process and follow the same steps. Question number 3, how can you rearrange your budget and work, rearrange your budget and work to make an additional $2,000 a year? So that way you're employing both strategies. Maybe one person, if they're married, maybe one person works a little bit extra, maybe one person gives up something in the budget. Or maybe they both give up something in the budget a little bit and they both work a little bit. How can you rearrange your budget and work to make an additional $2,000 a year? And maybe you work really hard in a couple months, get that $2,000, put it in the account, and you don't do it. Maybe you do it throughout the year, every week, every month, every day. So there are a lot of ways to do this. And by the way, students, depending on their age and ability, can contribute too. It doesn't have to just be the parent, the grandparent, the guardian, whoever. Students can be contributing, working toward this goal as well. So the more people you get working toward this goal, you get more ownership, but you also get more minds and labor involved in the process of saving toward this goal. And therefore, everybody in the family is part of the process of making this goal happen.